I welcome you today to a contemplative journey centered on a rather striking theme: 9 body language secrets to get respect from anyone. At first, it might sound like a typical tips and tricks list, some quick fixes to appear confident, but if we step into this topic through the lens of Stoicism and allied wisdom traditions, it can evolve into something more profound. For you see, body language is not merely a superficial performance. It reflects your deeper posture toward life and others, your internal discipline, and your sense of empathy. And respect, true respect, is not merely demanded by forceful gestures. It arises when others perceive authenticity, calm conviction, and a balanced sense of self. That's where Stoicism enters the picture. Before we dive in, let me clarify my position. I'm not suggesting you mask your true self with contrived poses or manipulative signals. Quite the opposite. The Stoic stance is that outward expression should align with an inward moral and psychological strength. If you yearn for respect from those around you, whether colleagues, neighbors, or even strangers in brief encounters, the surest path is to embody certain stable virtues that naturally radiate through your posture, your gestures, your gaze. That is the essence of body language secrets from a Stoic viewpoint. They are outward reflections of an internal practice. If the inside lacks sincerity, the outside rings hollow, and any illusions of respect crumble when tested. Now, if you are new here, please like the video and subscribe. Statistics show that only 15% of my audience is subscribed to the channel, so if this content has helped you in any way, I ask you to subscribe and hit the notification bell. Now, I'm addressing men roughly between the ages of 25 and 65, though these reflections can benefit anyone who resonates with them. In that age range, we often find ourselves at various crossroads, managing careers, families, changing social circles, or personal transitions. Perhaps you've realized that some intangible factor in your manner makes you overlooked, or you see others commanding a certain deference you've struggled to elicit. You might have tried standard body language hacks: stand tall, meet eyes firmly, speak in a measured tone. But you sense a gap between your attempts and the genuine respect you desire. Let us reframe those standard tips in the deeper context of Stoic discipline, moral clarity, and mindful empathy. In this 4-part series, I'll weave together the 9 secrets for body language that fosters respect, showing how they emerge from a Stoic interior, not a shallow pretense. Let me begin by sharing a personal recollection. Years ago, I was introduced to someone who exuded, at first glance, an undeniable presence. He stood at ease, without stiffness, and when he talked, his calm gaze included everyone. It was not an arrogant stance, nor was it meek. Later, I discovered he was deeply influenced by certain philosophical teachings, Stoicism among them. That initial aura of respectful engagement sprang from his unwavering sense of self, which let him address people from a place of moral conviction rather than fear. Observing him taught me that body language is most effective when it flows from a stable core. If we adopt the outward form without the inward substance, it might fool a few people temporarily, but often it appears hollow or forced. True respect arises when the outside and inside resonate. In the chapters ahead, we'll talk about the mechanics of posture, eye contact, gestures, spatial awareness, vocal presence, and other body language elements. But I want to stress from the outset, none of these are about faking dominance or manipulating. The Stoic approach is about reading these outward signs as natural expressions of a mind aligned with reason, virtue, and empathy. If you stand upright, it's because you're not weighed down by anxieties or shame. If you meet someone's gaze firmly but kindly, it's because you hold no fear or malice. If you keep your gestures open and unhurried, it's because you're not desperate to impose or overshadow. That is the kind of synergy we seek. Each secret is, in truth, an outflow of Stoic calm, grounded self-worth, and a willingness to see others as equals in dignity. Let me also warn you that getting respect does not mean forcing everyone to bow to your will. The Stoic impetus for respect is not about inflating your ego or feeding a lust for power. Rather, it's about ensuring that your presence, communications, and actions reflect the moral seriousness and balanced empathy that compels others to regard you as trustworthy, competent, and stable. When someone respects you in that sense, it fosters more authentic collaboration and open-hearted dialogue. That, in turn, satisfies the Stoic principle of living cooperatively in society, adding value rather than friction. We might also draw from other philosophical traditions that echo Stoic insights, like Confucian teachings on propriety or certain samurai codes emphasizing controlled posture as a mirror of internal discipline. The idea resonates across cultures. How you carry yourself physically can either invite mutual respect or sow doubts and tensions. This is not a new phenomenon or a trivial matter. Warriors, monks, and statesmen throughout history practiced certain stances, gestures, and facial expressions that conveyed both readiness and humility. That fusion, readiness to stand for one's principles, humility to respect others, resides at the heart of body language that commands admiration without resorting to intimidation. I can guess some might ask, why focus on body language at all? If Stoicism is about controlling your own mind and living by virtue, shouldn't that suffice? In an ideal world, yes, people might sense your virtue even if you slump or avoid eye contact. But in practical reality, those around you read non-verbal cues instinctively. If your posture suggests uncertainty or your gaze flickers in anxious tension, they may interpret that as lack of confidence or hidden motives, overshadowing the genuine virtue you hold within. Stoicism doesn't demand ignoring the social signals we involuntarily give off. Instead, it encourages consciousness. Am I projecting the calm sincerity I truly feel, or am I sending contradictory signals? That question can lead us to align external expression with internal truth, so our overall presence resonates with authenticity. But let's be clear, body language alone cannot conjure respect if your deeds contradict it. If you appear stoic and stable but then act unfairly, lie, or exploit others, any initial aura of respect evaporates. The body language must reflect real integrity. If it's a hollow facade, people eventually see the discrepancy. That is a crucial Stoic principle, the unity of inside and outside. The more you practice moral consistency, fulfilling your word, showing genuine empathy, standing firm on ethical convictions, the more natural your respectful bearing will be. Conversely, the more you rely on postures or power poses without ethical substance, the more forcibly you'll have to maintain them, risking that uncomfortable vibe that people can't fully trust you. In a sense, each secret we'll discuss is a branch of the same Stoic trunk, living from a place of calm self-assurance. Over the next sessions, I aim to detail each of the 9 secrets, but let me give a sense of their flavor. We'll look at how standing tall is not about puffing your chest, but about signifying readiness and no shame in who you are. We'll address how making eye contact with warmth rather than an unrelenting stare fosters a sense of collaborative respect. We'll examine the use of measured gestures, neither frantic nor rigid, to convey clarity of thought. We'll explore the subtlety of respectful space management, ensuring you neither crowd nor appear intimidated. We'll reflect on the power of a calm, stable voice tone, modulating volume and pace to signal focus. We'll delve into the significance of facial expressions that show engaged neutrality, not lifelessness or forced smiles. We'll address how to enter a room in a way that quietly acknowledges presence without demanding all eyes on you. We'll discuss how to respond to interruptions or challenges gracefully, letting your physical poise show you're unshaken. Lastly, we'll consider the art of ending interactions with composure, such that people sense your unwavering courtesy even as you part. We won't list them out in bullet points. We'll integrate them in a more organic narrative, connecting each to a Stoic principle or anecdote. And we'll keep in mind that these strategies shine best when harnessed by sincerity. If you only mimic them as a shallow performance, you might fool some folks short-term, but Stoic wisdom says illusions eventually falter under real scrutiny. The true path to unwavering respect is forging a stable character that naturally displays these body language cues. That's the deeper payoff. Not just momentary admiration, but a life shaped by moral clarity that fosters stable, long-lasting respect from friends, colleagues, and even passers-by who sense your calm presence. Now let me share an example that clarifies the synergy of inside and outside. Some time ago, I met a young manager who wanted to command respect from his older subordinates. He read about dominant posture and forced a brash stance, arms akimbo, chin lifted. Yet his voice quivered, and he often contradicted himself in decisions. Over weeks, employees found him more irritating than respectable. Then he discovered Stoic principles, focusing on consistent fairness, being transparent with reasons for decisions, and quieting his inner fear of not being taken seriously. As he grew in genuine self-assurance, his posture relaxed into a firm but open stance. No more forced bravado. People sensed the difference. They started respecting him because his outward confidence now matched the real consistency of his leadership. That transformation illustrates how genuine alignment yields the body language that garners authentic respect, not a superficial performance. Let me also stress that respect is not about dominating or humiliating others. In Stoic logic, we want mutual respect that upholds each person's dignity. If your body language becomes a tool to show you're above everyone else or to push them into submission, that's no Stoic path. Stoic respect arises from moral equality. We stand as free, rational beings, but we demonstrate a calm readiness to contribute, protect, or lead if needed. The secrets we'll delve into revolve around showcasing moral fortitude without aggression, kindness without weakness, and clarity without arrogance. Finally, let us address how Stoic reflection guards us from going to extremes. If you read general body language tips, you might interpret them rigidly. Always keep direct eye contact for at least 5 seconds, or never slouch even a fraction. That mechanical approach can backfire, appearing unnatural. Stoicism encourages us to learn broad guidelines, then adapt them fluidly to the context. If the person across from you is anxious, too intense of a gaze might heighten their discomfort. Use your Stoic empathy to dial it back. If you see they are unafraid and open to deeper engagement, you might hold your gaze a bit more. The Stoic mindset remains flexible and responsive, guided by the desire for mutual rapport. Across these 4 parts, we'll examine these 9 secrets: how to stand, move, speak, look, and present yourself, tying each to an aspect of Stoic virtue or psychological insight. My invitation is that you approach each secret not as a hack, but as a reflection of an inner stance. I am calm, I respect myself, I honor others, and I don't fear external disapproval. When you hold that posture in your mind, your body language often follows suit naturally. Our job here is to crystallize that synergy, ensuring no contradictory signals slip out. Because if inside you are frantic with self-doubt or thirst for validation, it might manifest as jittery feet, darting eyes, or too close proximity. But if inside you stand anchored in Stoic composure, Your outward presence beams a gentler confidence that invites respect. Let me outline how we'll proceed in these final chapters. First, we'll frame the general Stoic stance on respect, why it matters, how it differs from subjugation, and how sincerity outlasts mere posturing. Then, we'll begin unveiling the secrets, weaving them in a narrative form that covers posture and body usage from the moment you enter a room to the way you close interactions. We'll see how each secret can be misapplied if done too aggressively or too timidly, and how Stoic moderation yields the sweet spot. We'll share a few examples from life, some comedic, some instructive, to illustrate the difference between forced body language and Stoic naturalness. Finally, we'll bring it all together, emphasizing how true respect arises from a holistic approach that merges Stoic self-governance with warm empathy for others' boundaries and comfort levels. With that, let us proceed to the heart of these insights. Remember that each segment is but a portion of the tapestry. By the end of our sessions, you'll see how these 9 secrets form a single coherent method of presenting yourself physically, one that fosters respect, not through intimidation, but through a calm, morally grounded presence. And rest assured, we'll connect them thoroughly to the Stoic tradition. Marcus Aurelius, Seneca, Epictetus, each in their own words taught that real strength is quiet and resolute, not blustering. The body language we display can be a manifestation of that quiet strength if we so choose. Take heart that these transformations don't happen overnight. Perhaps you've spent years slouching or avoiding eye contact out of insecurity. Maybe you've tried to appear big and imposing, only to discover it pushes others away. Stoic practice allows for patient growth. Small changes in how you stand or greet people day by day yield large shifts in how they perceive you. If you slip up or revert to old habits, Stoic reflection helps you calmly correct course next time. Over weeks and months, you'll notice a difference in how people respond. They might approach you more readily, ask for your input, or speak of you as a reassuring presence. That is the hallmark of genuine respect, not forced compliance. So let us take this path together. We've set the stage, reaffirming that these body language secrets revolve around Stoic authenticity, not manipulative showmanship. Prepare to learn how to walk, stand, meet eyes, and gesture in ways that mirror your Stoic stability, so that those around you sense your self-assured calm and offer you their respect willingly. In the next part, we'll commence unveiling these secrets in detail, anchoring each in a philosophical or psychological rationale. Through that interplay of reason and practice, you can integrate these behaviors naturally, letting your outward presence echo the Stoic virtue you cultivate within. For now, reflect a moment on your typical posture when you enter a room. Do you rush in, scanning for who's watching, or do you slump to avoid notice? Or do you stride with composed purpose? Stoic awareness begins with noticing. In the next segments, we'll use that noticing to refine your approach, step by purposeful step, culminating in an authentic aura that invites respect from co-workers, strangers, loved ones, and even from yourself. Because at the end of the day, the greatest respect that Stoicism fosters might be your own self-respect, knowing you stand in moral and physical alignment, free from the illusions that plague so many who rely on bluster or subservience. That is how body language, ironically, becomes a gateway to a deeper Stoic life, not just a social advantage. Let's continue on that path. Now, I'd like to delve deeper into the heart of these so-called secrets. Let us consider how your posture, your way of entering a space, and your nuanced use of eye contact and gesture can quietly command respect in a manner consistent with rational virtue. This conversation might be especially relevant for men in that broad age range of 25 to 65, but truly anyone can glean insights here, for the Stoic approach resonates across all backgrounds. Before we plunge in, let me restate a simple premise. Body language is not a cheap trick. If your internal state is frantic or insecure, forcing a rigid posture can make you appear more awkward or intimidating than authoritative. Conversely, if you truly adopt Stoic composure, accepting that you cannot control external judgments but can refine your own behavior, your posture will naturally shift to something balanced and confident. The guidelines I'll describe function best as channels for an underlying calm, not as theatrical stunts. Indeed, the Stoics believed that external forms should mirror the dignity of one's character. When you are right with yourself, physically and morally, people intuit that alignment, responding with the respect that emerges from perceived authenticity. Let me begin with the notion of entering a room. We might not often think about how we cross a threshold, but that moment can set the tone for how others perceive you. Many men, anxious about first impressions, either rush in with too much vigor, demanding all eyes on them, or shuffle in timidly, eyes down, betraying uncertainty. The Stoic middle way suggests walking at a measured, unhurried pace, head upright but not stiff, eyes calmly scanning the environment to acknowledge who's there. You are not frantically seeking approval, nor are you shrinking from notice. You accept the setting as it is, greeting it with quiet readiness. This approach signals both confidence and respect for the gathering. If it's a professional meeting, you might nod or lightly smile at those who glance your way, conveying cordiality. If it's a more social event, you might step forward to greet a host or friend without hesitation, but also without barging in. Why does this matter? Because that fleeting moment reveals your relationship to external validation. A Stoic man does not need to barge in loudly or contrive a swagger. He also does not tiptoe as if unworthy of being there. He claims his rightful space, governed by an inner composure that says, "I belong here as much as anyone else, and I impose on no one." People may not consciously note your entrance, but subconsciously they sense you're at ease, not seeking or avoiding attention. Over time, this small act cultivates an aura of respect, for you are not desperate, nor are you arrogant. This is the Stoic sweet spot. Moving on, let's consider standing posture, a perennial topic in body language. Typically, you hear that standing up straight with shoulders back exudes confidence. True enough, but done incorrectly, it can come off as forced or militaristic. The Stoic approach is to let your spine align in a natural uprightness, chest open enough for comfortable breathing, but not artificially puffed out. Shoulders relaxed downward, not clenched. Your weight distribution ideally rests balanced between both feet, not swaying or fidgeting. If you stand with an even, collected posture, it suggests both readiness and poise. You are not bracing yourself for attack, nor are you slumping as though apologizing for existing. In the Stoic worldview, your posture symbolizes acceptance of the present moment. Of course, watch for tension. If you attempt to forcibly keep your shoulders pinned backward all day, you might appear rigid or anxious. Instead, recall a Stoic mental image. You're a pillar, grounded in your moral convictions, but flexible enough not to crack under stress. That mental posture seeps into your physical form. Over time, you'll find yourself standing with a calm uprightness without strain. People who notice often feel you radiate a subtle confidence, the kind that rarely begs for attention, but invites respect. This differs from the chest-thumping approach some men adopt, which can easily slip into posturing that others might interpret as arrogance or aggression. The Stoic stance aims for neither intimidation nor meekness, but a comfortable equilibrium that says, "I am here, content in my skin, and open to engagement if you so choose. Let's talk next about the interplay of facial expression. We touched in the previous session on how a stony, emotionless face can unnerve people if it lacks any warmth. By contrast, an overly animated or fawning expression can signal insecurity. The Stoic recommendation is a mild, open demeanor. Typically, a gentle half-smile or neutral face that brightens when appropriate, like when greeting someone or acknowledging something positive, strikes a good chord. You don't plaster a grin every second, nor do you appear cold. You convey receptivity. Even if you are naturally more serious, letting your eyes and slight shifts in expression show that you're actually attentive can go a long way in garnering respect. People sense that you're not shutting them out. One might ask, should I force a Stoic calm if I'm feeling anxious inside? The Stoic approach is to address your anxiety at its root, reminding yourself that this social or professional setting is not an ultimate threat to your worth. You can handle it calmly. By centering your mind, your face may reflect that authenticity. If the anxiety lingers, you might adopt small Stoic techniques like focusing on controlled breathing, mentally framing any potential negative outcome as not catastrophic. That mental shift often eases the tension in your face, letting it settle into a composed expression. The outward result is a face that looks measured and confident, not stricken or forced. Over repeated experiences, your anxious triggers subside because you see you can consistently navigate social scenarios with balanced stoicism. Let's pivot to eye contact, perhaps one of the most vital aspects of respectful body language. We mentioned earlier the risk of intense staring or the difficulty of avoiding eye contact altogether. The Stoic stance is mindful moderation. Keep a friendly, steady gaze on the speaker or the person you address, but let it shift naturally, sometimes glancing to the side if you're gathering your thoughts. The ratio might be more eye contact when listening, slightly less when speaking, so as not to appear confrontational. If you sense they are a bit uneasy, you might lighten it further. This dynamic approach signals you are attentive and confident, but not rigidly fixated or seeking to dominate. The Stoic mind stays flexible, responding to subtle cues. If you see them responding with comfortable engagement, you might maintain your gaze a tad longer, signifying sincerity. If they look away frequently, you reduce direct eye contact so they don't feel pinned under a glare. That's Stoic empathy in motion, calibrating your outward expression to the shared social context, not from fear, but from reasoned courtesy. Similarly, how you use your hands or arms can make or break the sense of approachability. Some men unconsciously adopt a protective stance, arms crossed or hands in pockets, out of self-consciousness. Others wave their arms excessively, seeking to dominate the conversation physically. The Stoic middle path is letting your arms rest naturally at your sides when standing, or using gentle hand gestures that punctuate your words without flailing. If you cross your arms, do so occasionally in a relaxed manner, not as a permanent barrier. If you find your arms are locked as if warding off the world, check your interior state. Are you anxious or defensive? Stoicism instructs you to breathe, recognize you need not fear, or forcibly impress. Let your arms open in subtle gestures that reflect your calm message. Over time, this can convey a quiet confidence. Others sense you're not hiding nor flailing for attention, but simply comfortable in your own space. Stoicism also suggests a sense of spatial awareness. If you stand too close, we risk the creepy factor we discussed previously. If you stand too far, you can appear aloof or disinterested. By paying attention to the context, crowded room versus open space, personal conversation versus group setting, you adjust your distance so that the other person feels you're present but not invading. This is not about memorizing exact measurements, but about reading signs. Do they lean in or do they step back? If you see them step back, you follow that step, maintaining a comfortable bubble. If they lean in, you can meet them proportionally. This fluid dance of space signals to them that you respect their personal boundary and you have no intention of imposing. The Stoic principle of justice means giving them the autonomy to define how near or far they're comfortable. Meanwhile, you remain calm in your own sphere, not seeking to overshadow. Now let us talk about something intangible, the rhythm and pacing of your movements. Jerky, hurried motions or an air of restless fidgeting can undermine the respect you hope to garner. People sense tension or lack of self-control in abrupt gestures. By adopting a Stoic mindset, recognizing you have time to act deliberately, that you needn't rush to respond or to fill every silence, your physical pacing becomes measured. You speak at a moderate tempo, you nod thoughtfully, you shift posture unhurriedly. This fosters an impression of self-possession. Indeed, someone who leaps to respond with fast, agitated gestures conveys a certain emotional vulnerability. By contrast, the Stoic man knows he can respond in his own time, confident in his stance. Observers read that as an admirable steadiness. It does not mean you move in slow motion artificially. Rather, you avoid manic quickness that signals anxiety or desperation. Perhaps you wonder, won't I appear dull if I slow down my gestures and speech? In practice, moderate pacing rarely reads as dull. It reads as clear, methodical, present. If your content is interesting or your presence is kind, people typically lean in. Indeed, a rushed or frantic style can overshadow substance. Slowing a bit with calm intervals invites them to truly engage. If in doubt, watch how respected leaders in your workplace or community carry themselves. Often you'll notice a serenity in their gestures, a certain unhurried composure. The Stoic approach systematically cultivates that composure from the inside out. One crucial aspect is how to handle interruptions or challenges physically. Suppose you're addressing a small group and someone interrupts you aggressively. Non-Stoic responses might include bristling or leaning forward aggressively, fueling tension. Alternatively, a timid soul might shrink back, avoiding eye contact, surrendering the floor. Stoicism proposes a middle path. Maintain upright posture. Keep your gaze level, let them finish or clarify, then respond calmly. You do not flinch or retreat, but you also do not lash out physically by stepping closer as if to intimidate. In so doing, you show self-control. The others observe that you are neither easily bullied nor prone to meltdown. This measured stance consistently fosters respect because it proves your steadiness under pressure. The ancient Stoics recognized that conflict tests one's virtue. By physically embodying calm, you silently tell watchers that you can handle friction without resorting to emotional extremes. Remember, the entire foundation is sincerity. If inside you seethe with anger or quake with fear, you might forcibly maintain a Stoic posture, but eventually cracks show through micro-expressions, tremors, or forced tone. The real solution is to do the Stoic mental work. Accept what you can't control, reaffirm your moral vantage, trust your capacity to adapt. That internal peace seeps into your face, voice, posture. Each subtle movement becomes an authentic expression of your unshaken state, not an act. People sense authenticity, and they respond with deeper respect. Indeed, ephemeral illusions can impress momentarily, but lasting respect emerges from consistent demonstration of calm virtue. Let us share a small anecdote. A colleague of mine, let's call him Daniel, once struggled with public speaking. He was physically tense, face taut, arms crossed, voice wavering. The audience rarely responded well, seeing him as nervous or overshadowed by his own fear. Over months, Daniel practiced Stoic reflection on stage fright, acknowledging that while he can't control the audience's reaction, he can control his approach. He studied how to stand with balanced feet, let his arms relax, maintain moderate eye contact without scanning too fast, and speak in measured intervals. He also confronted his internal illusions. What if they judge me? Accepting that some might, but that it doesn't define his worth, gave him freedom. As he embraced these Stoic concepts, his body language naturally softened and steadied. The next time he presented, people found him far more compelling, praising his calm clarity. Daniel didn't just fake a posture, he aligned his mindset with Stoic acceptance. The posture followed suit, and genuine respect ensued. One last point for part 2 here, the interplay of courtesy and boundaries. Sometimes men fear that being too polite will lose them respect, or that they must appear aloof or harsh to be taken seriously. Stoicism rejects that dichotomy. You can be politely open while simultaneously standing firm in your boundaries. For instance, you greet someone with a calm smile and perhaps a handshake if culturally appropriate. Then you hold your posture that denotes self-assurance, shoulders level, stable stance, signaling you're not a pushover. If they test your boundary, like stepping uncomfortably close or spouting manipulative demands, you calmly but unmistakably hold your ground. That might mean stepping back or politely redirecting the conversation. People sense that your courtesy is genuine but not naive. That balanced approach, friendly yet unyielding about personal space or moral principles, is distinctly Stoic and often garners deep respect because it merges warmth with unassailable self-possession. In summary, in this second installment, we're focusing on the next layer of physical expression that fosters respect. How you enter a room, how you stand, how you modulate your facial expression and eye contact, how your arms and gestures reflect Stoic calm, how you handle challenges or interruptions in real time. None of these points are about imposing or posturing. Rather, they revolve around letting your Stoic interior, secure, rational, not clinging to external validation, manifest externally in measured ways. As we proceed to the next parts, we'll delve even deeper into how to speak or respond verbally with a Stoic-laden presence, how to manage spaces and group dynamics, and how to integrate these skills so thoroughly that they become second nature. The ultimate aim is that you walk away not with a stale checklist, but with a living sense that your body language is an expression of your Stoic virtue, quietly earning respect through consistent moral presence. Perhaps for now, consider practicing the steps we covered. Next time you enter a meeting or social gathering, notice your pace and posture. Are you rushing or timid? Try a balanced, unhurried entry, acknowledging the space with calm eyes. Stand or sit with your spine comfortable yet upright. Let your arms settle in a relaxed, open posture. Maintain moderate eye contact, dipping in and out to keep it comfortable for both parties. If someone challenges or interrupts, keep your composure physically. No flinch, no aggression, just steady attention. After the encounter, reflect stoically. Did I remain consistent in my approach? Did I adapt if they seemed uneasy, or if I sensed tension? Over repeated experiences, you'll see how each small, stoic-laced behavior cements a reputation for balanced confidence that quietly demands respect, free of bluster or manipulative charm. That is the Stoic ideal: external calm, internal virtue, and a cohesive alignment that cannot easily be shaken by external judgments. By now, you may see how each aspect of posture or expression, if rooted in a genuine Stoic mindset, not only avoids artificial theatrics, but steadily garners the respect of those around you. Yet body language extends beyond mere posture or initial impressions. It also involves how we handle social dynamics, moments of tension, group interactions, personal boundaries, and how we physically signal empathy or, conversely, unavailability. Respect grows when people sense that you are not only self-possessed, but also attuned to the environment, responding in ways that reflect both confidence and consideration. Thus, in this third segment, we delve into the more nuanced layers of body language that shape how others perceive you in collaborative or conflict-ridden situations. We'll look at how Stoic virtues like justice, wisdom, temperance, and courage illuminate these interactions, guiding you to project an aura of stability that commands esteem without hostility. Before we begin, let me reiterate a core premise. Authentic respect emerges when your outward manner aligns with consistent moral character. If you pretend calmness but inwardly boil with insecurity or manipulation, small incongruities, micro-expressions, forced gestures tend to leak out. Over time, people sense the dissonance. Real Stoic presence demands honest introspection so that the quiet confidence you display is not a hollow facade. This synergy, once forged, has lasting impact. Observers find themselves trusting your body language precisely because it matches your steady integrity in speech and deed. Let us apply that synergy to further aspects of physical communication. The power of active listening posture. Many body language discussions focus on how you stand or speak, but forget the impression you create while listening. If you want respect, show respect. This is a basic Stoic principle of justice. When someone else talks, your posture should indicate you value their words enough to pay calm attention. Avoid scanning your phone or letting your eyes drift to the door. A Stoic approach is to squarely face them, though not in an intimidating stance. Perhaps angle your torso slightly toward them and maintain a relaxed but interested expression. One subtle technique is to keep your arms uncrossed, possibly resting lightly on a table or by your sides. Occasionally nod or give short verbal affirmations like yes or I see in a measured tone. These signals reassure the speaker that you are present. If you adopt a Stoic internal posture, I am here to understand, not just waiting to talk, the outward signals flow naturally. People often equate good listening with respect because it implies you are not self-absorbed, but open to their perspective. Indeed, Stoic empathy demands we recognize that the other's vantage, however different from ours, deserves due consideration. By physically embodying listening, you rise in their esteem. They sense you aren't itching to interrupt or trivialize them. However, mind that you do not slip into an over-eager lean or an endless nodding spree. Moderation is key, reflecting Stoic composure. If you lean too close, it might invade personal space. If you nod excessively, it might seem you are impatient for them to finish. The Stoic posture is balanced, attentive but calm, open but unintrusive. A gentle forward inclination of your upper body signals focus, but you remain conscious of their comfort zone. Sometimes, men seeking respect try to alpha posture during listening, crossing arms or standing rigid, which can read as disinterest or challenge. The Stoic way is friendlier, yet retaining an upright backbone that suggests you are not subservient. People see that you care about their words, yet you keep your own stable presence, a synergy that fosters a sense of mutual regard. Collaborative gestures and group engagement. Next, let us consider how you physically engage in group settings, like a team meeting or social circle. People watch not only how you talk, but how you integrate others. A Stoic approach fosters group respect by using inclusive gestures. For instance, if you're explaining a point in a meeting, You might gently gesture with an open palm toward a colleague to invite their input. This is a more inviting posture than pointing or jabbing the air. That open palm motion says, "I welcome your perspective," which signals moral respect. Onlookers appreciate that you share the floor rather than dominating. Likewise, if someone else is speaking, you can show alignment with them by occasionally mirroring a bit of their posture, though not in an exaggerated way. Subtle posture mirroring, like shifting your stance similarly, can communicate empathy. In Stoic moderation, that mirroring remains slight, ensuring you do not appear to mock or replicate them too blatantly. If they're excited, let your expression show mild enthusiasm so they feel validated. If they're solemn, you adopt a more sober face. This synergy, combined with your calm Stoic center, fosters group solidarity. People sense that you adapt kindly without losing yourself. In contrast, one who remains stiffly the same no matter the emotional tide might come across as distant or uninterested, risking a drop in respect. A Stoic man in a group conversation also moderates how often he physically claims the spotlight. Standing up or moving around at every chance can appear attention-grabbing. Instead, remain seated unless speaking to the group or if the format calls for it, and stand with that balanced posture we discussed. If you do speak, you might use measured gestures, slight outward movements of the hand to emphasize a point, rather than flailing or pointing aggressively at each participant. This calm expressiveness signals both confidence in your ideas and a willingness to see others as equals. Over repeated group interactions, your reliability in body language helps you become recognized as a figure of stable leadership or considered input, earning respect that transcends momentary impressions. You have now reached the halfway mark of the video. I congratulate you for trying to become a better version of yourself, and I also humbly ask you to leave a comment, as it helps my channel immensely. If you do not know what to comment, just write "better every day," so I know you reached this far. And don't forget to subscribe for more content like this. Also, I've linked some books on Stoicism that helped me become the man I am today, and will also help you achieve a Stoic mindset. Handling disagreements without hostility. One of the toughest arenas for body language is disagreement or debate. Even if you remain verbally polite, your posture or facial cues can inadvertently convey anger or belittling. If you physically loom over someone, stepping into their space while saying, "I respect your viewpoint," the words ring hollow. Stoicism teaches that in conflict, we should strive to keep reason, not passion, at the helm. Let your posture reflect that rational calm. For instance, if your colleague states an opinion you strongly oppose, resist the urge to lean forward with an accusatory stance or to roll your eyes dismissively. Instead, maintain that upright posture, keep your facial muscles relaxed, and show you're listening. Then respond calmly, possibly turning your shoulders slightly so it's not a direct front-to-front confrontation. This angled stance can reduce perceived aggression. Speak with a moderate volume. Should they become heated, your Stoic stance remains consistent. No trembling, no abrupt lurch forward, no crossing arms in a show of defiance. This unwavering calm often diffuses the other's tension. Observers see that you engage in the discussion at the level of logic, not intimidation. Over time, this approach cements respect because it proves you are not easily provoked into childish displays. People trust that if they disagree, you won't lash out physically or become pushy. Additionally, when the other finishes speaking, a small nod or neutral acknowledgement shows you heard them. If you physically freeze or adopt a stony glare, it can signal dismissal. Stoicism, though often portrayed as unemotional, does not equate to ignoring or belittling. Rather, it's about controlling harmful passions while still acknowledging the other's presence. If the tension escalates, you might gently raise a hand in a calm gesture for a moment's pause, less a cutting motion, more a request for a breather. This subtle control of body language can remind the group that you remain composed, urging reason over rancor. People respect that steadiness, especially in conflicts that could otherwise spin out of control. The art of ending interactions with grace. Respect often hinges not only on how you begin an interaction, but also on how you conclude it. A Stoic approach to finishing a conversation or meeting likewise involves measured body language. Suppose you sense the discussion is wrapping up. Rather than abruptly turning away or checking your phone mid-sentence, you might slow your gestures, let them finish their thought, then stand or shift your posture, indicating readiness to move on. If it's a one-on-one talk, you can briefly re-establish eye contact, offer a handshake if culturally normal, or a polite farewell gesture. This subtle close signals that you appreciated their time and are not fleeing. Even if you disagreed, you maintain a gracious exit. People recall that final moment vividly, associating it with your collected posture. If parting from a group scenario, a Stoic man typically avoids scrambling to gather belongings in a frantic manner. Instead, you methodically pick up your notes or devices, acknowledging the group with a small nod or "Thank you all for the discussion." Your posture remains upright as you step away, not sagging with relief or rushing out. That last impression underscores the consistency of your calm presence. Over repeated instances, your colleagues or friends perceive your unwavering courtesy from start to finish, reinforcing the trust that you're balanced and respectful. Again, these small gestures might not appear monumental on their own, but collectively they weave an image of dependable composure. Authentic self versus performance. Let us address a common concern. Am I just performing? Shouldn't I be real? The Stoic stance is that your authentic self ideally is a reasoned self, one that does not impulsively flail or impose, but mindfully chooses behaviors aligned with virtue. There's always a risk that you might initially practice these body language nuances before they fully integrate with your psyche. But in Stoicism, discipline often precedes natural habit. Over time, as your moral convictions deepen and your anxieties recede, these bodily expressions become second nature. The short transitional phase, where you consciously remind yourself to stand calmly or modulate gestures, is akin to Stoic training wheels. You're not faking virtue, you're training your body to reflect the virtue you aspire to, bridging the gap between old reflexes and new Stoic composure. If it feels forced, keep returning to the Stoic core, controlling your impulses, acknowledging the ephemeral nature of external judgments, and focusing on rational empathy. Let that mindset shape your stance and movements. The more you unify the mental and the physical, the less contrived it becomes. Eventually, you won't have to think, "Don't glare, keep your arms relaxed." Instead, it will flow from a calmer soul that rarely feels the impulse to glare or tighten. Stoicism, in short, is about forging that deeper unity, handling accusations of vanity or falseness. Sometimes acquaintances might notice your shift in posture or more measured gestures and teasingly say, "You're acting all high and mighty now," or "This new calm style feels fake." The Stoic approach is not to lash out or revert to old habits. Instead, calmly explain, if needed, that you're working on being more mindful or less rushed, aiming for a stable presence. People might or might not accept it. If they persist in mocking you, you remain Stoic. You can't force their approval. Over time, if you truly maintain the Stoic center, your consistent warmth and fairness usually wins them over. They see it's not vanity or arrogance, but a reflection of your growing self-mastery. If they never come around, Stoicism says we accept that we cannot control every opinion. We remain unwavering in our chosen path. Encountering hostile environments. Another question: what if I enter a hostile environment, like a workplace rife with aggression or a social circle where tensions run high? The Stoic approach to body language can be especially potent there. If you walk in with quiet confidence, straight posture, calm scanning of the room, no fluster or hostility, people sense you're not easily intimidated, nor are you spoiling for a fight. Even in a tough environment, that stance signals a readiness to handle conflict from a rational vantage. If someone tries to physically crowd you or act menacing, Stoic posture does not cringe or bristle. You hold your ground at a respectful distance, calmly meeting their gaze but not glaring. That intangible mix of non-fearful posture can dissuade bullies who feed on obvious fear, while your measured response averts escalation. Essentially, Stoic body language in a hostile zone says, "I neither fear you nor seek to harm you, but I will remain unwavering if conflict arises." Over time, such a posture often earns reluctant respect, even from adversaries. At times, you might need to combine these Stoic behaviors with firm boundary setting. If someone physically tries to push you aside, you calmly stand your place or step away and maintain composure, then verbally set your boundary. Your body language synergy, no flinching, no frantic aggression, reinforces that boundary with quiet resolve. People eventually see that messing with you leads nowhere constructive. They might back off, or at least treat you with cautious respect. The key is that you didn't sink into intimidation or displays of rage, preserving your Stoic moral vantage. Communicating competence without boasting. Within many professional settings, respect is partially tied to perceived competence. Body language here can help show that you handle your responsibilities with calm proficiency. For instance, if you're giving a presentation or leading a discussion, a Stoic approach means you stand with purposeful stillness, avoiding frantic pacing or overblown gestures. You speak with measured clarity, occasionally scanning the audience to ensure you connect with them. Your expression remains engaged, not smug or passive. If a question arises, you pivot your body slightly toward the questioner, show you are listening, respond methodically. This posture and presence day after day fosters an image of competence, someone who doesn't brag about skill but displays it in calm thoroughness. That fosters respect more deeply than flashy attempts at self-promotion. Stoicism ensures your humility remains, so you never appear cocky, and your acceptance of your own skill is grounded in actual experience, not braggadocio. People see you neither as a show-off nor as diffident, but as someone quietly confident in their domain, which is among the strongest magnets for respect. Warmth and smiling, balancing, Stoic restraint. Stoicism can be misunderstood as being perpetually serious, but letting your face show warmth, especially in greeting or shared moments of humor, does not violate Stoic composure. Indeed, if your default is a calm, neutral expression, a genuine smile, when appropriate, resonates more strongly. People see it as an authentic spark, not a forced grin plastered there from start to finish. The Stoic approach means you do not grin constantly out of nervousness or social fear, but you also do not hide genuine positivity. So if a colleague shares good news, you allow a real smile to surface. If someone cracks a light joke, you might chuckle softly, your posture still composed. This interplay of serene baseline with occasional uplifting expression can be quite endearing, as it signals you are in control of your emotions, yet open-hearted enough to respond kindly. On the other hand, Stoic awareness prevents over-laughing or lingering too long in forced joviality. If the moment passes, you gracefully revert to calm neutrality. This cyclical shift from calm to mild expressiveness and back, in line with the situation, fosters a sense that you genuinely experience the moment without letting it rattle your equilibrium. People reading your face sense stability plus approachability, a potent formula for respect. Contrast that with someone who rarely changes expression, verging on robotic, or someone who giggles at every remark, appearing unsteady. The Stoic middle ground, thoughtful baseline with context-driven warmth, cements a deeper acceptance by others. They see you as human, but not buffeted by every whim. Synthesis, a Stoic presence among others. Let me now paint a composite scenario that merges these ideas. Imagine you arrive at a professional conference. You walk in with unhurried stride, posture upright, scanning the room kindly. When you see an acquaintance, you catch their eye, give a slight wave or nod, neither bounding over nor shrinking away. Approaching them, you stand at a respectful distance, greet them politely, your face relaxed. They mention a new project. You listen attentively, leaning in just enough to show interest, nodding occasionally in sync with their points, but not overshadowing them with an intense stare. Someone else joins the chat. You shift subtly to include them in the circle, turning your body so no one feels excluded. When a slight disagreement arises about a technical detail, you keep your posture balanced, arms uncrossed or gently clasped, your tone calm as you lay out your perspective. You let them finish, responding with reason. If the conversation ends, you sense they must mingle elsewhere, so you wind down gracefully. This was really insightful, thanks for sharing. Let's catch up later. You don't cling or press them to keep chatting. Your exit is smooth, a small parting smile, turning and walking away with the same measured pace. Observers see in these micro-interactions that you exude courtesy, self-assurance, and respect for others' boundaries. They sense no tension or desperation. Over the entire conference, your consistent Stoic manner fosters a subtle but powerful respect from those you meet. In the meantime, I invite you to observe your own body language in the next few days. Notice how you enter rooms, how your posture shifts in conversation, how you handle moments of dispute. Keep a Stoic mental note of any tension or frantic impulses, then gently correct them, recalling that you are free to move with calm deliberation, not driven by fears or illusions. Over repeated sessions, you'll find your body language transitions from a forced exercise to a fluent reflection of your Stoic center. And that truly is the aim, to live so that the outer form mirrors the inner virtue, unifying the two in a single presence that naturally commands respect from those who cross your path. Now, in this final section, we aim to integrate everything into a coherent whole, addressing potential pitfalls and showing you how to continue refining these Stoic-aligned practices long after you've completed this reading. It might be helpful to recall a central thread running through our conversation. Authentic respect cannot be forced or faked for long. While body language secrets can offer new techniques, their true potency emerges only when your outward expressions mirror a genuinely stable and respectful mindset. That is the essence of Stoicism, that consistency between internal virtues, temperance, wisdom, courage, and justice, and external actions or cues. If there's a contradiction, people will sense a dissonance, and any short-term advantage in your physical presentation will dissolve. Hence, the concluding theme I want to emphasize is how to maintain that synergy over the long run, ensuring your Stoic body language transforms from a set of tips into a natural extension of who you are. A Stoic overview, recalling the why. Before we finalize details, let's revisit why cultivating body language that elicits respect matters in a Stoic framework. Some might question, if Stoicism instructs us not to chase external approval, why focus on the manner we move or stand? Should we not remain indifferent to others' opinions? In truth, Epictetus, Marcus Aurelius, and Seneca all repeatedly affirmed that while we needn't obsess over external judgments, we do live among fellow humans, and courtesy or collaboration is integral to virtuous living. Disrespect, if it stems from our ignoring social norms, may impede the synergy Stoics champion in human communities. Moreover, if our actions inadvertently cause confusion or alarm, we sabotage our own capacity to do good and connect meaningfully. Thus, Stoic body language ensures we walk a path of moral sincerity that fosters trust rather than friction. In modern settings, be they workplaces, social circles, or random public encounters, earning respect translates to being heard, included, and recognized for your calm reliability, not overshadowed by illusions or cast aside because of awkward signals. So each secret we've discussed is less a manipulative hack, more a guardrail to keep your outward presence reflecting your rational center. By continuously applying these practices, you gift yourself and others a more harmonious sphere of interaction. Weaving the 9 secrets together. Although we haven't enumerated them in a strict bullet format, throughout these 4 parts we've touched on 9 overarching principles or secrets. 1. Enter the space with measured confidence, not rushing nor slinking, but walking in with calm purpose, scanning gently to acknowledge who's there. 2. Maintain an upright, relaxed posture, shoulders down, spine aligned, stance balanced, neither rigidly forced nor slouching. 3. Use warm eye contact in moderation, enough to show presence but not a stare down. Let your gaze shift naturally to avoid intimidation or disinterest. 4. Respect physical and emotional boundaries. Keep a comfortable distance, sense the other's comfort level. Do not push intimately unless mutual signals allow. 5. Adopt a measured facial expression. Show receptive neutrality, occasionally softening with a smile or nod. Avoid extremes, blankness or hyperanimation that can unsettle. 6. Listen attentively and collaboratively. Face the speaker, nod or respond calmly. Signal genuine attention. Such presence is a cornerstone of mutual respect. 7. Move and gesture with composed rhythm. Avoid frantic gestures or locked stiffness. Use open palms to invite dialogue. Moderate your movements to reflect calm certainty. 8. Manage tension or conflict with steadiness. In disagreements, hold your posture, keep arms uncrossed or gentle. Do not loom or flinch. Maintain eye contact and respond with reason, not aggression. 9. Conclude interactions with dignity. When wrapping up a conversation or leaving a setting, maintain that same balanced presence. No hurried departure or awkward scuttle. These are the broad strokes. Each principle can be adapted to the moment, but the unifying Stoic theme is sincerity. Let each physical manifestation reflect an interior that is confident, considerate, and free from desperate need for approval. Potential pitfalls and how to address them. Even with these 9 guidelines in mind, some pitfalls can arise. Overthinking. In the early stages, you might become self-conscious, analyzing every stance or gesture. This can backfire, making you appear tense or robotic. The Stoic fix is to revisit your interior calm. When you sense yourself micromanaging each movement, take a quiet breath. I trust my reason. Let me just be present. Over time, your posture becomes more fluid. Forgetting context. Body language that works in a casual friend gathering might seem too relaxed in a formal board meeting, or vice versa. Stoicism calls for measured adaptation. In a formal setting, you might stand or sit more upright, speak with a firmer tone. In a casual barbecue, you ease into a slightly looser stance while preserving the core Stoic calm. The principle remains, but the execution flexes to context. Misapplying confidence as aggression. Some men, trying to appear strong, overdo direct eye contact or stand too near. This can spook people into labeling you controlling or combative. Always check your posture for tension or intrusiveness. If you sense the other person stepping back or avoiding your gaze, Stoic courtesy says, scale down the intensity. Ignoring subtle emotional cues. A Stoic approach doesn't mean ignoring your companion's emotional state. If they are anxious, adopting an extremely poised stance with unwavering eyes might intensify their nerves. Instead, dial your presence to show empathy. Soften your gaze, nod encouragingly, maybe angle your body to reduce perceived confrontation. Stoicism is fluid empathy, not unbending formality. Becoming passive. On the flip side, some interpret Stoic calm as passivity, never taking space or initiative. That might convey meekness, losing respect. If a situation calls you to speak up or lead, do so. Step forward with that upright stance. Meet eyes with the group. Speak with measured clarity. Stoicism does not preclude stepping into leadership. It only demands we do so without arrogance or panic. By anticipating these pitfalls, you stay vigilant, making real-time corrections. The Stoic mindset is that each scenario is an opportunity to refine your presence, bridging potential extremes. Over repeated practice, your body language becomes a stable anchor in a changing social environment. Handling unexpected challenges or criticism. Let's also consider how you might respond if someone criticizes your newfound composure as trying too hard, or, ironically, creepy. Perhaps they're not used to your calmness. The Stoic counsel remains. We cannot control their opinions. We can only ensure our behaviors are consistent with virtue. If they voice suspicion, respond calmly, maybe clarifying that you've been working on your posture or approach for personal growth. If they remain skeptical, let it pass without undue frustration. Over time, your consistent actions should dispel doubts. This echoes a Stoic principle. Do not become enslaved by every external opinion, but remain open to honest feedback if it reveals a mismatch between your intention and your effect. Advanced refinement. Speaking with a Stoic tone. Though we've emphasized physical cues, it's worth a brief mention of vocal presence, as voice and body language are intertwined. A Stoic man typically speaks in a controlled, moderate volume, loud enough to be heard but not yelling. Pace your words so they land clearly, giving others time to absorb. Avoid trailing off or mumbling in ways that suggest uncertainty, nor do you bark your statements as if commanding an army. If you sense tension in the room, your voice remains calm, neither rising in panic nor trembling with forced bravado. Over time, watchers will note your vocal demeanor matches your physical posture, quietly assured, never frantic or meandering. This synergy between voice and body cements the aura of respect. A stance of quiet power plus a measured tone communicates robust confidence without overshadowing or belittling others. Combining body language with ethical deeds. You might ask, if I follow these 9 secrets but in actual practice I cut corners ethically, do I still get respect? maybe superficially at first, but Stoic teaching emphasizes that once your deeds contradict your calm exterior, eventually people discover the discrepancy. True, you might momentarily impress people by standing tall and speaking well, but if you cheat co-workers or show manipulative behavior behind the scenes, your reputation corrodes. Stoics hold that moral consistency is the real bedrock of respect. The body language is the icing, not the cake. If your ethics remain questionable, people might fear you or give you forced courtesy, but that's not the respect we aim for. Genuine esteem arises when they see your stance is grounded in reliable virtue. Therefore, do not see these secrets as a substitute for ethical conduct. See them as an extension of it. By merging moral clarity and a polished outward expression, you become that person people naturally look up to, trusting you because your whole being projects reliability. That's the Stoic brand of respect, grounded in actual principle, not ephemeral flair. Sustaining progress, Stoic habit building. In ensuring these Stoic body language habits become second nature, you might adopt a few daily or weekly rituals. 1. Brief morning intention. As you start your day, remind yourself, I will present myself today with calm uprightness, listening fully, standing with balanced posture, meeting people's eyes with sincerity. I do not seek to dominate, only to engage from a place of reason. This sets the tone. Second midday check-in. If time allows, pause around midday. Reflect. Have I been mindful of my body language? Am I slouching due to fatigue or anxieties? Did I inadvertently overshadow a colleague? A quick mental review can let you adjust for the afternoon. Third evening reflection. At night, replay notable interactions. Did your posture convey serenity or tenseness? Did you handle conflicts with measured gestures or slip into aggression? Jot down small notes to refine next time. 4. Occasional self-video. If practical, e.g., with a friend's help, record yourself in a casual conversation or a mock presentation, then review with Stoic objectivity. Here I see I'm crossing arms frequently. Here I appear rushed. Use that awareness to correct. At first, this might feel structured, but over months it becomes second nature. You'll automatically stand or sit with that calm presence, modulate your gestures, keep a receptive yet confident gaze, and so forth. The fruit is a stable, genuine respect from peers that you rarely need to coax or confirm, because it emerges organically from the synergy of your Stoic interior and consistent external signals. Examples from everyday scenarios. Let's illustrate how these Stoic body language habits might surface in daily life. At a local cafe, you strike up a conversation with someone in line. You refrain from crowding them, keep gentle eye contact, and if they show interest, you continue. Your posture signals you're friendly but not needy. If they turn away, you politely let them, accepting it with no fuss. They respect your courtesy and might even re-engage if they sense you're safe and not pushy. In the office corridor, a colleague shares some tension about a project. You turn your body toward them, arms uncrossed, nodding as they speak. Your posture suggests you care. If they express frustration, you remain physically calm, not mirroring their agitation. By not reacting with tension or abruptness, you create a small oasis of reason in that corridor. They often leave with a higher regard for your steady demeanor. At a family gathering, an uncle challenges your views. You keep your seat upright, your expression neutral, but listening. When you respond, your voice remains measured, your gaze meets his with calm. Even if he gets riled, you don't fidget or brace for an argument. Observers note the difference. You are not fueling the tension. Over time, the family might see you as a stabilizing figure, someone whose presence fosters calmer dialogue. Culmination, a Stoic embodiment, by weaving together the 9 secrets, entering spaces with balanced ease, aligning your posture, modulating facial expressions, controlling your gestures and proximity, listening actively, and concluding conversations gracefully, you create a tapestry of body language that exudes quiet confidence. Each principle intersects with Stoic virtues: composure from self-mastery, temperance, empathic engagement from justice and wisdom, unwavering stance in tension from courage. The result is an authentic presence that invites respect, not by demanding it, but by evidencing moral clarity and interpersonal awareness. People might not articulate, "He must be Stoic," but they'll sense an uncommon steadiness in you. This fosters deeper trust, better rapport, and the intangible aura of leadership or reliability. If you hold leadership roles, you'll find subordinates calmer around you, more willing to approach. If you're among peers, you'll find they consult you or heed your words more. If you're meeting new acquaintances, your balanced stance offsets first impression nerves, making them see you as someone worth knowing. Over time, these small, consistent impressions shape a reputation for respectful confidence that can open doors in personal, professional, and communal spheres. Ultimate purpose: living in sync with reason. Let me close by reaffirming the bigger Stoic vision behind these secrets. We started by noting that body language is not about shallow manipulation, but about ensuring your external presence resonates with a Stoic mind that harbors no illusions or toxic impulses. When you truly believe that you have no need to force respect, that your worth is intact regardless of superficial judgments, and that others deserve courtesy as rational beings, you naturally shift your posture, gestures, and expressions to reflect that. The 9 secrets simply help align your physical habits with these convictions. Day by day, you cultivate a synergy where your moral convictions, like fairness, empathy, reasoned speech, find expression in physical cues that reassure and uplift those around you. Stoicism, at heart, is about self-mastery for the sake of communal harmony and personal moral elevation. Gaining respect from others is not the ultimate Stoic aim, but it is a happy byproduct of living in accord with reason and virtue. The body language we've dissected is thus a tangible demonstration of your Stoic growth, forging bonds of trust in a world often fraught with posturing or anxiety. By managing these outward signs with sincerity, you help co-create an environment in which rational discourse and mutual uplift can flourish. A final word of encouragement: as you step away from this 4-part series, I encourage you to continue practicing these guidelines with patience. Perhaps you'll adopt a daily or weekly reflection, noticing how your body language evolves as your Stoic discipline deepens. You might gather feedback from a close friend or mentor, or pay attention to how co-workers or acquaintances respond when you refine your posture or pace. Don't be disheartened if old habits reappear under stress. Stoic growth is a journey, not a sudden leap to perfection. With perseverance, you'll find your default stance gradually becomes more upright and unhurried, your eye contact more assured yet kind, your gestures and speech more in tune with the calm you're cultivating within. Respect from others, in turn, follows naturally, without guile, without force. Let this stand as your guiding principle. Live by Stoic virtues. Let your body language mirror that moral, steady flame, and others will sense your authenticity, responding with the respect you neither crave nor reject, but accept with gratitude. In a noisy, restless age, that quiet strength is a beacon few can ignore. May these 9 secrets anchor you in that quiet strength, letting you move through gatherings, workplaces, and personal relationships with the unshakable presence of one at peace with himself and benevolently poised toward others. That, in essence, is how Stoicism elevates physical expression from a bag of tricks to a moral art, inviting respect that stands the test of time. Now, if any part of this message has been helpful to you, leave us your like and comment, helping the algorithm recommend it to someone who needs it at this time. Don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss new videos. And if you look through the videos we've already uploaded, you're sure to find something to take with you. Have a good day.